most one can be. All right. So let's keep going with the rest of the presentation. So it's story time. So when I was involved in student organizations, I became part of the club, and we always had this club day and this welcome event, and in the end, I maybe you, or those of you who've been involved pre-pandemic, they kind of go like this: you have a table, you put a bunch of candy or something out, and you get all these people to come. You're like, hey, yeah, this is my organization, this is my mission. Well, yeah, yeah, we're awesome, and sign up here with your name, your email, maybe even your phone number, and we'll talk to you and share with you about the next event, right? So to me, it was like a goal to see, hey, why, how many names could we get? So at one point, I remember getting 30, 40 names. I'm like, woohoo, I have a whole sheet of different people that had signed up. And guess how many people actually showed up? Zero, maybe one or two, right? So because the emphasis was on the wrong thing, right? You think that, oh, I just need to get people to sign up and then they'll show up. It doesn't really work like that. What really works in order to actually gain members is to actually develop a human connection with them. It's actually this, to actually become best friends with them, right? Now, and we're going to talk about how you do that. You want to develop these strong friendships and these relationships with these people. And now, because of COVID, you're going to have to be able to do it via phone or Zoom. All right. So let me give you another example. So, as you know, I had that all club day. The people that I really connected with and like had great stories and spent maybe 5 or 10 minutes at the table really connecting, those were the people that were most likely to actually show up to an event or something like that. And then I remember having that same person or just another person coming to this was the student government office. And so what did I do to make them feel welcome that I didn't in the past? When most college students meet each other, they probably like, oh, hey, what's your major? Oh, that's really cool. What do you plan to do after you graduate? Those are your go-to kind of questions that you always ask people. But when I had people come to my office or come to student government, whether they were guests or whatever, my mission was, I want them to feel totally comfortable and develop best friends, not only with me, but with the people in the organization. So I would, like, let's just say there was this one student named Megan, right? She would come into the office and I would say, oh, hell, nice to meet you. I think I met you at club day, or I want to give you a whole office tour, or I want to introduce you to people. And then I remember would take them over to like the one office. I'm like, okay, here's Lisa. Oh my gosh, you should know Lisa loves tattoos. Like she's covered in them. Like she won't stop talking about them. Like, so you can really connect with her if you're into that. Oh, here, come over here. I want you to meet Johnny. Oh, Johnny, he's a vegan. All right. Oh man, he loves all about nutrition. Watch out, he might convert you, but it's really cool. And they're like, hi, nice to meet you. And so you're starting to share different things about different people because it's all about making them feel welcome, making them feel like, oh my gosh, this is your home. These are your people, and these are your friends. If you've been to different organizations that are super clicky, you can almost feel like when they say, hi, how are you doing? Like you're suspect, you're not part of them. Those are the organizations that don't feel welcome, right? That you don't want to be part of because they're not inviting, they're not welcoming. And I just put this clip because there was a famous movie of Step Brothers. I don't know if you all have seen it, where these guys were enemies because their parents get married, I mean, these older men, and they hate each other, and it's quite hilarious. But as they start hanging out with each other, they start to realize all the different things that they have in common. And then they comes to the point in the middle of the movie, like, oh my gosh, did we just become best friends? And he's like, yep. And that's the whole point of what I want each one of you to do with each one of your members or your executive members. So now let's go into how to develop members, right? How do you develop becoming best friends? Well, there's first on stuff that you need to do, right? So that you are open and welcoming to be a friend to someone. And then there's other things that you need to do to develop a friend so that, that you also connect. So when it comes to you, the first thing is you have to be vulnerable, right? If you are putting up a wall and you're like, oh, I have to look good. I don't want anyone to judge me. It's going to be very difficult for you to actually build friendships. One of the stories that I'll share with you is that when I was in high school, well, first of all, my life story is some of you may already know or remember. I moved around a lot. I was very poor, and my mom was constantly and moving around to different areas. So I was always like the new kid at the school. And when I moved out here to New York and I went to the suburb school, I remember that I was being picked on and bullied. And I asked my grandfather, what should I do? Right? They're picking on me, and it's really frustrating. And he gave me this advice: just laugh with them. And I'm like, just laugh with them. He's like, yeah, like, don't let them hurt you. Just laugh with it. And so I tried it out. So whenever, like, oh my gosh, you did this, I'm like, ha ha ha, I'm such a klutz, and I would just laugh and everything. Guess what happened? I became the fun loving guy, and suddenly everybody wanted to either tease me or joke with me, and suddenly they couldn't hurt me. And now I started to become like this popular kid in the school. Even the teacher got into like teasing me and making fun of me, and I would like just laugh. And I became almost like this jokester. And then people wanted to be around me. It was just so shocking, like just that mindset. So that's something that you could do too. Share stories. People love good stories. Now, I want to tell you that you may be thinking, well, I don't have any good stories to tell. But guess what? You have a story, right? There are things that happen in your life that are incredible, and people would be fascinated. But guess what? You have never taken the time to actually write down or practice telling little snippets of your stories or the major events in your life. If you want to build friends, have those good stories. I'll tell you something really, I don't want to be ashamed of it, but I was just more curious of, you've ever heard of those dating experts and those consultants that help you try to get women and all that stuff? Some of it's really bad, right? Like being manipulative and like picking on negging and all these other stuff. I reject all of that. I didn't do any of that. But one of the things that I learned from watching like one of these videos, or I was learning about it, is that for guys to date, one of the things that they have to be able to do is tell a good story, and that they be able to use that story to kind of entertain people. And I think that's actually something very important. So if you're a very shy person, you're an introvert, yeah. Oh, I see a net. Stories to me sound manipulative. No, it's just being able to uh, educate people about your life, right? Because you don't have to lie, you don't have to embellish, you just have to be able to share, right? And so you'll be able to do this if with your family, where there's like a famous story that you might tell your family members because it's funny or entertaining. It's the same thing that you can learn when you're in job interview, right? You're going to have to be able to share your story about the skills that you learn. So it's good practice. And now